Everyone, and welcome to the training today. Today's topic is results and action. So let's start by talking about why it's important to create results and what action has to do with that. And then we'll set some context on how this ties in and give you a structure that will allow you to create consistent results. So let me take a quick note because I just had one more note that I wanted to take there to cover. So, action and results. Why is it even important to create results? So many of us have settled for mediocre lives, and many of us have accomplished big things, but chosen to believe that it was enough and just gotten to a certain point and then stopped progressing from that point. Well, it's absolutely necessary for us as human beings to continue to expand and grow into the next greatest version of ourselves forever. No matter who you are or what level of success you've achieved, your nature is to continue to expand into the next greatest version of yourself. Not only is it your nature, it is your integrity to do so. To be in integrity is to be aligned with one's true nature. Well, if you look at the nature of source is constantly expanding. Universe is constantly expanding. And so life itself expands continuously, and we are meant to do the same. So anytime that we've gone dormant, or we've settled into a comfort zone, or just got into a pattern of it's good enough, then we are actually out of integrity with ourselves in reaching the next greatest version of ourselves. So many of us have been taught and trained and conditioned to believe that wanting more is selfish, or having more is selfish, or having too much money is selfish, or having too much love or positive anything may make others feel left out, or have others do without, or some other thing that's been pre-programmed in our head that's not true. Now, I would suggest that results are actually a part of our evolution, our growth, our expansion as a spiritual being, that us learning to be powerful creators who can set our mind to something, choose something, conceive of something, believe in it, and then actually achieve it is part of our evolutionary and spiritual journey. That it is part of who we are and why we're here is to learn to get out of our own way, remove the mental blocks and emotional blocks that stop us from being the next greatest version of ourselves, and continue to create in the next greatest version. So Jesus said, if you had even the faith of a mustard seed, you could move mountains. Move mountains, literally. If you had the faith, think about this. What is he saying? If you had the faith of a mustard seed, which is a weed, it grows like, if you've ever been a farmer, it grows like weeds. It tries to take over your alfalfa fields and things like that. So like mustard seed doesn't even try, it just like happens. Got crazy face going on over there. So if you had the faith of a mustard seed, you could move mountains. So what does it take to move a mountain? Well, it takes bulldozers in today's era, but what if energetically we could literally move mountains just by having the faith of a mustard seed? What if we could accomplish things that big? And what if the mountains weren't about mountains at all? What if it's about the mountains of the chaos that you're facing in your life, or the mountains of destruction that you see in the world? We've got a 65+% divorce rate in the U.S. We've got a 65+% obesity rate in the U.S. We've got so many people unhealthy and unhappy and on antidepressants and diagnosed and prescribed this, that, and the other. Our diets suck. Our health and nutrition sucks. Our mindsets and skill sets and work environments suck. As a general, what is now status quo sucks. And we've been conditioned to believe that we are at the effect of these results, that it's happening to us. that we are victims to these results, to our health. Oh, it's just your genes. Oh, it's because you have diabetes, or you're pre-diabetic, or your parents had this or that. Yes, genes play a role. Yes, DNA plays a role. But we shape our own reality by our thoughts, by our beliefs, by the way we're organizing ourselves. So our results determine our level of commitment. And I'll set some context here. And I would say in life, you don't get what you deserve. You get what you are committed to. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you're committed to. So are you a child of the ultimate source and creator? Absolutely. Do you deserve to have anything and everything, all of the very best? Absolutely. Do you currently have all of that in every level of your life? Absolutely not. I don't care who you are, where you are, what level of success you've arrived to in all the areas of your life. There is constantly room for expansion and growth to the next level of joy, peace, freedom, happiness, prosperity in all ways. And so the results that you have, the way you know what you're committed to is based on your results. And there's a difference between what you commit to consciously and what you're unconsciously currently committed to. So if you take right now and you said, what are my results in my bank account? What are my results in my finances, my business? What are my results in my relationships, my spirituality, my clarity of purpose and significance and contribution in the world? What are the results in, my all aspects of my life currently? And if you look at those and you said, okay, and you wrote those down, and you said, this is my current results. And then you said, okay, is this what I want? Is there more? Would I be willing to have more? Then you got honest and said, based on results, I'm committed to these. This is what I'm currently committed to. And that's at first kind of a slap in the face, like, you're saying that I'm choosing to be this level of success, or this level of health, or this level of happiness, or connection, or joy, or fulfillment, or all these things? Yeah, that is what you're currently committed to based on your pre-programmed conditioning from childhood and throughout all the stages of life to this point, and the beliefs that you've locked in here, and the mindsets, the skill sets, and the environment that you have created for yourself that has created the current results that you're experiencing. So if we don't get what we deserve, we get what we're committed to, then how do we change that? Well, the first step, and we're going to talk about a whole list of steps to change your actions, which will change your results. And the way this works is thoughts, it starts with a thought. The thought leads to a feeling. The feeling leads to an action. And the action leads to a result. So if I don't love the result, and then I make up a new thought about that result, and if that thought is not an accurate thought, then I now cycle the pattern again with this thought leading to a frustrated feeling about the previous result, then taking another action based on that frustration of that thought, and then I get a similar result. And so then I keep cycling from thought to feeling to action to result that are undesirable. Unless I shift the pattern, unless I shift the thought, which changes the feeling, which changes the action, which changes into a new result. So I'm either going to spiral down or spiral up according to what I'm choosing to believe. Because we all have, I don't know how many thoughts. I was going to say millions, and that may be accurate. If not, it's definitely tens of thousands of thoughts every single day. And if we believe those thoughts, then we stay stuck. And so really one of the first steps is to give up victimhood and say, I'm responsible for everything in my world. Based on results, I'm committed to this. And that's not what I want. What I do want is this. So I'm going to commit to this now. I now commit to this consciously and begin moving forward to creating what we actually do want versus just creating based off of default program. So there's another quote I want to use to set the context of today's training, which is, if you don't go within, you will go without. If you don't go within, you will go without. So many people out there want to give you strategies and techniques about how you're going to thrive in this area and that area and kick ass in relationships and business and finance, and they give you all these strategies and techniques. But I can tell you this for certain. If you don't go within, you will go without. If you don't get to a place of impeccable integrity and unconditional love in here, and a solid foundation in here of who you are, why you're here, what your gifts are, and how you're going to share those gifts with the world, you can strive all day to implement every strategy and technique in the world, whether it be in real estate, whether it be in coaching, whether it be in a brick and mortar business, whatever you're trying to accomplish in your life, you can use every strategy and technique in the world. If you don't come from a solid foundation within yourself and clean your shit up inside here, you will go without. And I'll give several demonstrations about that today to help illustrate it in deeper and deeper ways and connect those dots for you. So the next thing I want to share is that when we're talking about action and results, there's a difference between inspired action and uninspired action. Anyone can get up every day and run like crazy in the wrong direction and get the results that they don't want. You can run like crazy, frantically and all over the place, being distracted by every shiny object in the world and being thrown off course every time something else shiny or seductive comes along, and not get a damn thing done. Which is why it's important to have a definiteness of purpose. If you don't know your purpose, if you don't have a holy cause, if you don't have a deep why that you start with that will drive you through hell or high water, that will keep you motivated and moving forward and clear on who you are and where you're going and why you're going there, no matter how hard it gets, you will be just like everybody else. And what do I mean by everybody else? I mean the vast majority of people try something twice and then quit. Whether it be on their health, their relationships, their finances, their whatever, they give it a couple of shots and then they give up and they make up some story or belief. Yeah, I tried that, it didn't work. I tried dieting and exercising, eating healthy and exercising, it didn't work. And so they make up a story that exercise and nutrition doesn't matter and doesn't actually make a difference, when the truth is either they didn't fully execute or they didn't have the right program or something else. If they were to keep trying 100 times over if necessary, and I don't love the word try, but what I mean is keep advancing, keep moving forward, keep taking action, keep learning from what works and what doesn't work, do more of what works and do less of what doesn't work, and never give up, always getting up more times than you fall, and you will get there, period. So uninspired action is like swimming in a tuxedo. That's how hard it is to succeed in life if you're taking action that is uninspired and unaligned with your passion and purpose. Like, just imagine throwing a tuxedo on and trying to swim fast and easy. It's going to be a pain in the ass, right? You're going to get weighed down, and it's going to be hard to move, and you're going to be sinking. You might even start panicking and get into fight or flight breath and freaking out. And that might feel actually kind of similar to some of your lives at some points. So, but the difference between that and, say, putting on proper gear that would be a wetsuit. And a wetsuit compared to swimming just in swimsuit is completely different. Wetsuit gives you buoyancy and you're floating and you're just like skimming along in the water effortlessly. And so the difference between inspired action and uninspired action is exactly that. It's like going from a tuxedo, a business suit, to a wetsuit. Both suits, both different purposes, both serving in different ways at different times. So being able to tap into inspired action and have that be aligned with your passion and purpose becomes absolutely critical. Now, the next thing is, if you're not getting breakthrough work. So if I were to ask every one of you on this call, I'm like, hey guys, what does it take to, be fit and healthy? You'd be like, well, I need to eat right and exercise. Everybody knows this. But what's unclear is what exactly does eat right mean? I mean, I thought I was eating healthy when I was 260 pounds. I was like, no, I'm healthy. I'm healthy. And I see people all the time today. I was at a health place a week ago, and there's this big unhealthy guy, obviously blatantly unhealthy. And he's like, yeah, it's all healthy, as he's piling on a gallon of honey, which is honey healthy? Yes. Is a gallon of honey healthy? No. Is a gallon of honey on top of all your fruit, having like 50 million carbohydrates all in one setting healthy? Even though everything on your plate is healthy, like it's all fruit, it's all organic, and it's honey and all, yeah, everything on your plate was healthy, but just because it's all healthy doesn't mean overloading your system with a bazillion sugars and carbs, whether natural or not, is healthy. So there's deeper layers to understanding health, way beyond what's a healthy food and an unhealthy food. You got macronutrients, micronutrients, and a lot of deeper layers. So me 10 years ago would have told you, yeah, I'm healthy. Why? Because I was told what was healthy growing up, which was a lot of grains, a lot of potatoes, a lot of meat, a lot of whatever, right? And so I thought that I was eating healthy because I was eating that, and then I thought Slim Fast was healthy because it had a lot of vitamins and all this other stupid shit. So there's a lot of things that we've been conditioned to believe as healthy because of propaganda and marketing, and even part of that was propaganda from our parents. If you came from a large family like I did, of course they were feeding us a whole ton of wheat and potatoes because really cheap to get that stuff. To feed the masses, we can feed a whole army for cheap. So let's just tell them this is healthy and buy this cheap stuff and rock and roll, right? Not to mention that all of it was poison laden and whatever. So back on track. So action without breakthrough is like climbing a mountain with a 200-pound backpack. If you're carrying all the burdens of the past, all the traumas of your childhood, you've been neglected, you've been abused, you've been molested, you've been punished, you've been abandoned, in whatever ways, or you've been spoiled. I don't care what your background is. If you've got baggage from the past in one form or another, whether it seems like you had the perfect life or not, every trauma and heartache and struggle from the past, if not properly addressed, is like a backpack, and it's a rock or a weight or a lead weight that's been put in that backpack. And so as you're moving forward, if you're not addressing the past traumas and limiting beliefs and stories and patterns and all this stuff and getting breakthrough around it, it's like, yeah, you can climb Mount Everest, but with a 200-pound backpack, it's going to hurt like hell, it's going to take a long time, and you might die in the process. So one of the next things is something Garrett used to say, which was simple success swinging singles. What does he mean by this? This is a baseball term saying, if we all quit swinging for the home run and we all just hit a base hit, and I hit a base hit, and you hit a base hit, and if every day I just hit a base hit, I get on base, and the first time, first base is filled, and then the next hit, first and second are filled, and the next hit, first, second, and third base have somebody on them, and the next hit we score, 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 and this pattern continues on. But most of us tend to wait for our boat to arrive, our big ship to come in, to hit that lottery and get our lucky break, and now we're going to hit big because we're always swinging what they call swinging for the fence, which like we're swinging for the home run to go over the fence so that we can just run in scot-free with no chance of getting out. But the problem is, most of the time while we're swinging for that big home run, we're striking out. So take this away from baseball and put it back into your relationships and your finances, your business, all these things. Where is it that you're swinging for the home run? You know, the diet, where you're like, okay, I'm quitting cold turkey today. No more this. We're going to cut all this out, and I'm going to have the willpower of Superman, and I will accomplish what I want with my diet. And then a week or 2 or 10 in, you're like, screw this shit, this is hard. So the key is swinging those singles, making those small improvements every single day. And I'm going to get into a part of your daily regimen that will assist you in swinging these singles every day and making progress in increments. But another thing I want to set as context is this, and that is, rather than thinking, whether you're approaching any area of life, rather than thinking all that you're going to give up to be healthy, like I'm going to quit eating my popcorn and my sandwiches and my pizza, and rather than focusing on what all you're going to give up, just focus on what you're going to add in. So it's success by addition rather than by subtraction. So instead of, getting your mind thinking that you're really sacrificing and giving up all these foods that you love, instead say, you know what? I'm adding more and more foods that I absolutely love, that are delicious, and that fuel my aliveness and well-being. And so your focus becomes, what do I love to eat that would fuel my aliveness, my energy, my vitality, my frequency, my vibration, my well-being? And so you may find, well, there's a lot of foods that I love that would be delicious, that would make me improve. And you just start focusing on that, not sacrificing anything, not quitting anything, not nothing, just adding in more and more good stuff that you love. So it's not an either or. Either I have to eat food I don't like and be healthy that's nasty, or eat food that's good that I do like and then be unhealthy. That's a paradigm of either or, which is stuck in persona. And it's all limiting beliefs. So if you said, I'm going to live in an and world, where I get to have my cake and eat it too, I get to have both, then you ask and questions like, how can I eat what I love and be healthy? So then you might make a list of all the foods that you love to eat that are healthy. Maybe it's blueberries and blackberries and strawberries and bananas and grapefruits, like whatever it is that's your things, and just start implementing more of those. And then you find more and more things, and pretty soon you find yourself less and less hungry. And the thing is you only crave what you're used to. The only time I crave crap food is when I eat crap food. When I crave awesome food is when I eat awesome food. So if you just start adding more and more awesome food that you love that's healthy for you, then pretty soon your palate will automatically adjust and you will automatically crave awesome stuff. This is true of everything in life. This is true of your relationships. If you're addicted to drama-filled relationships, then you keep bringing in drama-filled relationships. So don't try to quit the drama. Instead, add in more positivity. Add in more appreciation. Add in more love and exchanges of positivity and gratitude and different things. And again, you're transforming through addition rather than subtraction. Now the same thing with finances. Many times, most of the time, people think, oh, I need to cut costs, I need to cut expenses. Well, you cannot save your way to greatness. There's only so many costs a business could cut before they can't be in business anymore. If I cut all costs, I'd cut off my power, I'd cut off my internet, I'd cut off my phone, and hello, we would not be here. And so there's only so much cutting off you can do of expenses. What's more important than cutting off is adding to the value that you provide, finding new ways to leverage the value that you provide in the world in less and less time and energy. So many people like worship saving and scrimping and scrounging. Even like this guy, who's this guy that's a brilliant at managing money. He actually helps a lot of people. So I'm not totally downing him, but I'm saying he's not the cure-all, end-all. He's Dave Ramsey. Brilliant program for people to manage and start to live within a budget and live within their means, which is a critical principle that I'm not downing at all. The problem is, if you only live by that principle, then you will always live stuck and confined in a box of limitation based on your current means. Well, yeah, cut your costs to live within your means. That's critical. Once you do that, and you are living with a surplus in your budget, then go to, and in the same time be focusing on how can I increase the value that I'm providing so that you can have that, like there's a cap on how much you can cut expenses. There isn't a cap on how much you can expand value. So your income potential is limitless. Your expense potential is limited. And the truth is, producers, consumers typically live on more than their means. They make $5,000 a month and they spend $6,000 and they're going into debt over time, and somehow they scrape and scrimp and someone sends them a check in the mail that they didn't expect, and they get their tax returns and they pay off the credit cards they've been racking up, and they're robbing Peter to pay Paul just to live constantly. Well, true producers, most like the richest people I know live on like 10, 15, 20 grand a month, and then they actually make 50, 100 grand a month, and they put away way more money than they spend. So it's the richest people who actually live within their means. It's the poor people who live outside of their means. And ironically enough, it's the people who have the ability, like they've produced so much that they could consume, and they have earned the right to consume way more. And they do consume more, but by ratio to ratio of what they're producing versus consuming, they're way more in balance than the poor people that condemn them. Typically, successful people live on like a third of their budget, where poor people live on 110% of their budget. So keeping all that in mind now, setting up your days so that you are progressing and expanding in every area of your life becomes critical to this simple success swing in singles concept. And if you want the journey to be easeful, you've got to add in some breakthrough in the process. So let's break this down into steps. What does it take to create consistent, inspired action that delivers the results that you desire and deserve? And the first thing I suggest is that you start with why. Why are you doing anything? Why are you here? What is your purpose? What do you want and why? And dig even deeper. When you say, well, I want to make $10,000 a month or $100,000 a month or $1 million a month, why? And then when you answer that why, ask it again. Well, why do I want that? And then when you get clear on that answer, ask it again. Why do I want that? And ask that why question at least 5 questions deep until you feel inside like you've really landed somewhere that actually matters to you. Not because the Joneses have it, not because society says you're cool, not because you're going to validate externally your self-worth and get other people's approval, but to actually land in a place of, oh yeah, this is what I really want. So for instance, many people say, I want to make, $100,000 a month. Why? Because I want to provide for my wife and kids. Why? Because I want to just be at peace and have plenty of time to be the father and husband I set out to be. We're getting pretty close. We might have actually landed on that one, or we might could ask why again, and it might be like, well, because I'm just sick of struggling, and I just want to know that we are okay and that I have, been the provider that I know I'm meant to be, or whatever. So when you land, you'll feel it. It's not just, okay, we're going to make money and have nice shit. It's not about that. You got to find a why that is deep enough. It's like this holy cause that will keep you motivated way beyond what your willpower could ever do for you. It's something that would drive you, like if you think of a Unabomber, to them, they're going to heaven, right? The God's going to redeem them for doing this act. So they're literally willing to give their life for it. Or anyone that's committed to that level, they've got a why that is so big. It's like eternal salvation and glory and happiness with 70 virgins or whatever it is they're looking forward to. They're so sold on that concept that they will do anything and everything to get there. Now, of course, I'm not promoting Unabombing. What I'm promoting is getting clear on your why that aligns with your passion and purpose, that is a positive contribution to the world, that is win-win for you and all involved, and that will motivate you through hell and high water. And the reason why this is important is because anytime we commit to something great, something grand, something tremendous, we will be met with resistance. That is the name of the game. It's like if you think you're not going to be met with resistance, that's like thinking that you're going to go squat 500 pounds today without working up through a process of being qualified to squat 500 pounds. You will be met with resistance, and you will be required to expand your capacity to become bigger and stronger than that resistance. And it starts with smaller challenges. So first you win the 5-pounder, and then the 25-pounder, and then the 50-pounder on up until you get to the 500-pounder. So step one, start with why. Get connected with that holy cause, that why that will drive you no matter what. It's all about purpose. It's all about what you truly value most. Not what I value most, not what your neighbor values most, not what the Joneses or society values most. Getting real and raw with you to discover what do you actually value the most. And when you're clear with that why, then get clear on where are you currently. Because I said before, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you're committed to. Well, you can't. You set up a navigation system. You can tell the navigation, hey, I want to go to such and such area or spot, but if it doesn't know where you're at, how can it give you directions? There's infinite possibilities about how to get there, but it's got to know where you're at, just as you do. So if you're going to design a path and a route and a map and a game plan to get from where you are to where you want to be, the first step is knowing where you are. So get real and get honest with where you are on all levels. So physically, this is where I'm at. No one's fault, no one to blame, not even yourself, but this is where I'm at, this is what I'm currently committed to. Physically, financially, spiritually, relationally, all aspects, socially, where am I at currently? So first thing is, what do I want and why? Second one, acknowledge very clearly, face where you're at and get super clear on what the current results are that you're committed to. Step number 3, identify where you want to be. Okay, so here's where you are. Where do you want to be? What's your next frontier? What's the next peak you're going to climb? What's the next result you're going for in each of these areas in your life? Get absolutely clear on that and make sure that it aligns with your why. Because if it's a bullshit, these are my goals, but they don't align with your why, you're not going to get there. You're going to be just like everyone else who tries twice and gives up. The biggest difference between successful people and non-successful people is the successful people were willing to fail a bunch of times and get up more times than they fell down. You just don't give up. That's the key. I've failed more times than most people have tried. That's why I'm where I'm at. It's not that I was born perfect, fed with a silver spoon, had anything handed to me. On the contrary, I've been a stubborn, hard-headed dude who required myself to learn everything the hard way and beat my head against the wall, but just never gave up. If I didn't have resilience, I would have nothing. So once you've identified where you're at and where you want to be, and you're clear with your why, your holy cause, the next step is to reverse engineer how you're going to get there. So say you're in California and you want to go to New York. Well, pick your destination in New York and then draw a line backwards to get back to where you are that gives you a roadmap as to how you're going to get there. Do this with all of your goals, physically, spiritually, financially. So like in a business, when I reverse engineer with people's business, I'll say, well, how much money would you like to make? Okay, I'd like to make $100,000 a month. I'd like to make $1.2 million this next year. Okay, great. How would you like to, what are your current pricing on your packages? Well, my average one is, $10,000 a piece or $100,000 a piece or whatever. Okay, so if it's $10,000 a piece or $50,000 a piece, and you want to do $1.2 million, then we've got to do 50 times 2 would be 100. We've got to do that 12 times, so we've got to have 24 clients at your average price point. Okay, so if you're going to have 24 clients at your average price point, what's your current closing ratio or enrollment ratio on your sales calls? Well, I get about 50%, okay? So if you're closing 50% and you've got to have 24 clients over the next 12 months, then we've got to have you have 48 sales calls with qualified leads. Perfect. So how do we get 48 qualified leads on the phone? We reverse engineer that, okay? Now, how are we going to go about this? We can do social media, we can do paid ads, we can do email marketing, we can do whatever. So we design out a game plan that allows that to happen, and boom, you've now got $1.2 million business plan that will get you there in the next 12 months if you execute, which is why we're here on this call today, which is action and results. Because it's one thing to have a goal and a dream to make $1.2 million, or any amount. Yet for some of you, it might be 100,000 in the next year would be a dream. Right? I don't care where you're at in the journey. For some of you, it might be if you don't make 10 million this year, then it won't be fulfilling for you because you've already accomplished these other areas. But the first step, if it's not believable and you can't see the path to get there, you're not ever going to go. So the next thing I wrote down is faith. Faith to do the work, to believe in yourself. If you don't believe that it can happen, it can't. If you don't believe you're worthy, you're not. And many people seriously, one call with me, we gain clarity on a few of these things. They already have the value sitting right under their nose. They just haven't seen the vision. We can paint the vision in an hour or 30 minutes, go back, pick the end result, reverse engineer it, and all of a sudden it's all clear in their head, and now we just got to go to work. So having that faith, well, what is faith rooted in? It starts with self-interest, which we've been taught a lot about not being selfish. Well, let's break that down for a minute. The reason why we try not to be selfish is because we've been told that selfish people are bad and they don't go to heaven, basically. And so we stop being selfish so that we'll go to heaven. So we think, right? But pay attention to what I just said. If I stop being selfish, then I will get what I want, which is to go to heaven. So I'm actually still being selfish in trying not to be selfish because I'm doing it for me. The reason why I'm being not selfish is because I selfishly want to go to heaven for time and all eternity. So even when you think you're being selfless, you're still just doing that for you. Because you want God's approval, because you want others' approval, because you want eternal salvation. So all of your attempts to be selfless are futile and bullshit. The true definition or the message behind when they're saying don't be selfish is create win-win. It's impossible for you to not act in your self-interest. Sorry, that's not true. It's impossible for you to act in a way that you don't believe is in your self-interest. The Unabomber believes that he's acting in a way that's in his self-interest. And so does everybody else, including the person who's striving to be selfless. So the purpose isn't to become selfless, it's to become committed to win-win. To having you and them win, to always making sure that everyone involved with you wins. So there was truth in what they were saying is, don't just be focused on you. Because if all I showed up here was, hey guys, give me money. Hey guys, help me out here. Hey guys, what are you going to do for me? Then pretty soon you're like, dude, quit knocking on my door trying to get shit from me. But if I show up, and now the other extreme we tend to go to is, oh, I don't want anything. I'm just doing this for you. I'm selfless. And then we're broke and pissed at you, pissed at God, pissed at everybody. Pretty soon I got to quit and go get a job, and then I'm blaming you for not giving back. Now the healthy version is to do more like what you've seen me modeling in this group, which is, hey guys, I love to give. I'm glad to support and give back. And I request healthy exchange of value. I'll give to you, you give to me. Don't just be here to take. Don't just be in any relationship to take. See how much value you can give and receive so that we all become more wealthy. And be committed to win-win. Whether that be in this group, whether that be between you and I, whether that be between you and anyone in your world, it always gets to be win-win. Otherwise, there becomes a deficit. And when there's deficits, bank accounts go dry, and late fees and penalties apply, and stuff gets ugly. So once you've reverse engineered and you've exercised the faith, now the faith begins with you. And the foundation for faith is the two pillars I talk about under many contexts, which are unconditional love and impeccable integrity. If I don't absolutely love me, I don't absolutely love you. And if I don't absolutely love me, then I won't allow me to thrive and kick ass and win in the scenario. And if I don't absolutely love you, I won't allow you to thrive and kick ass and win in the scenario. And if either of us loses, we both lose because we're both one. You're my brother. You're my sister. If I do a deal with you where you lose and you're connected to me, I lose. Not only immediately, I lose you eventually. I lose whoever you are going to refer to me, and I lose confidence and certainty within me. The next time I go to make a sell, something in my head says, no, don't do it. You're going to screw them. You're going to screw them over like you did last person. No, let's sabotage this. You don't deserve this. And there's stuff happening in the background for me that keeps me from succeeding on the next level. That's why I must have unconditional love and impeccable integrity if I want to have sustainable success. Are there people out there who make a lot of money because they know skills of sales and marketing and promotion and manipulating people? Absolutely. But do they sustain their success ongoing? Never. If they don't have unconditional love, impeccable integrity, their success is never sustained. Look at all the empires, Enron, and every empire who has ever failed because unconditional love and impeccable integrity didn't exist. They had what we've been taught of a selfish version, the selfishness that doesn't work, which is just me and not caring about you. It doesn't work. If I just care about me and don't care about you, I'm committed to failing. If I only care about you and I don't care about me, I'm committed to failing. If I know that we are one and that we both must win and I'm creating healthy win-win exchange, we both win and we both leave better off. Now, a quote around this faith thing is, certainty sells. Certainty sells. This is critical, guys. If you want to enroll somebody in something, you must demonstrate certainty in your verbiage, in your voice, in your tone, in your language, in your body posture, in everything that you're exuding energetically. The energy never lies. You can say one thing and energetically be vibrating another thing, and people will instantly say, he's lying, she's lying. That's not true. They will instantly know something's incongruent. So forge your certainty to influence and shape your world by being absolutely 100% committed to loving yourself and others unconditionally and operating out of absolute impeccable integrity. The next step in the journey is commitment. You've gotten clear on where you're at, where you're going, what you want. You've made a game plan to get there. And now if you don't commit 100%, plan on it being like every other diet you started and quit. Plan on it being every other business that you started and quit. Plan on it being every other thing you've ever done, relationship, whatever, that you started and then you quit on it. Now, granted, it's not a good idea to run an Ironman if you haven't conditioned yourself to run an Ironman. Willpower will not get you there. So don't go in unarmed. You got to have the right skill sets and mindsets, and having fed your body properly and conditioned your body and mind properly to be able to up level, to play on that level. And that's true of business and relationships and everything else. So you quitting on your relationship, if you would have had different skill sets, communication and listening skills, and understood body language and learned how to embrace your own feelings and their feelings and do all these healthy things, you would have had a different experience. But you were going at it unarmed. No wonder why you failed at it. Same with your business. If you didn't have the right marketing skill sets and mindsets, and sales skill sets and mindsets, and leadership skill sets and mindsets, and systems skill sets and mindsets, no wonder why it was an uphill battle. On top of that, so you're trying to do it, you're wearing your business suit in the swimming pool while trying to climb the mountain with your 200-pound backpack. You're carrying the traumas of the past. You don't love yourself. You haven't had impeccable integrity. You don't believe you're worthy. You're hitting up against your glass ceiling and your upper limits. You're carrying the traumas of the past. You're not getting the breakthroughs, the mindsets, and the skill set upgrades. No wonder why you've given up over and over on all aspects of your life. No wonder why everybody settles for mediocrity and status quo. No wonder why most people settle for lives of quiet desperation. Smiling and acting like it's all good, but inside, one day all of a sudden people kill themselves. This doesn't happen overnight. This shit's been happening right in front of your eyes, but you haven't been watching the body language. You haven't been paying attention to the verbiage. It's happening all around us. There's people all around us living lives of quiet desperation. Are we going to stand up and make a change? Are we going to speak the truth? Are we going to be the change we wish to see in the world? So once we commit, just like I said earlier, we will be met with resistance or counter commitments, or you could call it competing commitments. And the biggest thing that determines whether we make it past those or not is our ability to recommit over and over and over again, no matter how many obstacles get in our way. So it's a commitment/recommitment process. Now, along the way, our mind will go into drifts. I went into a drift last Sunday, 3 days ago. I'm training for Ironman in June, which is a 2.5-mile swim, a 112-mile cycle, and a 26.2-mile run, all back-to-back. It'll take me somewhere between 12 to 16 hours to accomplish this, of straight going hardcore. It's something, I don't know the percentage of people on the planet, but it's probably, I'm certain, less than 1% of the people on the planet have done it And if we were to go back in the history of mankind, it's probably like 0.01% of all people on the planet have ever accomplished something like this. And 2 days ago, I did not an Ironman, but I did a triathlon, so the same sports, same activities, but a smaller distance. I did a 1-mile swim in open water in the ocean, which is extra hard because you got the waves and the coldness and whatever. I did a 24-mile cycle and then a 6-mile run. Now this is like 1/3 or 1/4 of the actual Ironman. So I still got a long ways to go. But I've been training and conditioning for a long time even to be able to do this, and it pushed me on several levels. Now, one of the thoughts that entered my brain on Sunday was, why the hell are you doing this? Is it even worth it? Now, if I hadn't committed and burned the ships and been telling the whole world, I'm running Ironman, I would probably on Sunday go, yeah, no one really knows, and this is hard, and it hurts, and there's so much farther to go. Let's just act like I never committed to this. We'll just let this go away, sweep it under the rug, and I'll know that I quit. I'll know that I set out to do something great. I'll know that I started and I quit on myself because of the pain, the resistance, the counter-commitment, but no one else will know. And so secretly, not only would I have failed at the Ironman, I would have failed at being the guy who says, I'm going to move that mountain. I've got the faith of a mustard seed. I'm going to move that mountain, whether it be my relationships, my finances, my business, my helping someone transform their life or whatever, and I'll be the guy who quits when I get 1/4 of the way there. Because the way you do one thing is the way you do all things. And so my point with this is if you don't know how to identify the drift and create a shift, you're screwed. If you don't master the art of creating the shift out of the drift, because the drift came in for me. I'm the teacher of the concept, right? I lead people in how to shift from the drift, and here I am drifting about, now why am I doing this? Maybe I should just quit. The drift comes in. It's not that the drift goes away, it's that you master the ability to identify the drift instantly and shift out of it. Because if I let that thought keep cycling, I don't do the training, I don't do the conditioning, and then I either get injured and make up an excuse, yeah, I was going to do Ironman, but I got injured. Yeah, I was going to do Ironman, but it got hard. Hey, man, whatever happened to that Ironman thing? Yeah, I decided not to do it. Or a million other excuses that we've all told about every other aspect of our life. So I either buy into that drift and keep cycling, or I go, look at that thought. Yeah, I used to buy into that a lot. That's where I used to stop myself every time. But you know what? I love myself way too much to allow myself to keep sinking into those patterns and stopping when I get 25% of the way, creating epicness. I've played that game way too fucking many times. No way. Not going there. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. So the ability to master the shift from the drift is absolutely critical to creating results, not just hoping, but creating true results. Like, guys, if you wanted, like, think of NASA. Somebody decided, you know what, let's fly into space. And so they're like, I don't know, how could we do that? I don't know, let's create this tube that will, like, shoot fire, and we'll load it up with gas, and we'll ignite it, and it'll, like, start shooting fire out the back, and it'll fly up in the air, and woo, we're going to be in space. You know how many frickin' times their rockets crashed before they had a rocket that actually worked? You know how many trials and errors they had? I saw a picture on Facebook once that showed a picture of the space shuttle, and it said, because you can't pray a rocket into space. I was like, isn't that the truth? We sit and pray and pray and pray that our garden will thrive and that this rocket will fly into space and that God will bestow manna upon us in all our different forms, but we don't do the work. I don't go out and plant the garden and harvest it and cultivate it and nurture it and water it and weed it and do the work. I don't do the trial and error of getting that rocket and paying attention to what principles worked and didn't work. I better understand the law of gravity and whatever. I don't even know the mathematics and all the laws of physics involved to get a rocket into space, but what I do know is that they launched a shit ton of them that went woo, 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 and then they adjust and they adjust and they adjust and they've learned something else and they mastermind and they adjust, and pretty soon they have all these propulsion systems and this and that, and boom, they get a rocket into space because of trial and error and science and faith and belief and logic and reason and all kinds of stuff, and they get there. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not like promoting science only. Some creative force out there that we can call God invented the laws that govern all of it. They invented the laws that allow gardens to thrive and allow rockets to get into space, and gave us the playing ground and said, go play. Here's your playground, go play. You're welcome to have it all. You're welcome to fly to space if you want. You're welcome to grow gardens if you want. You're welcome to launch whatever passion-based business you want. Just thrive, be creative, make a difference. Go play and learn. Notice what you notice. And when you do something that doesn't work, don't do that anymore. And when you do something that does work, do more of that. And if you want your life to work, just keep doing more of what works and less of what doesn't work, instead of ignoring the feedback and repeating the patterns, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. It's your beliefs that have your results as they are today. If you're not cleaning up your beliefs and your stories, plan on getting the same results over and over again. You are literally the definition of insanity if you just want to defend your limitations, defend your beliefs, defend your stories, defend the patterns you've used so far in life, and expect different results. Go ahead and check yourself into the loony bin now. Save you a lot of time, money, and energy. So, mastering the drift and shift. And now the next key piece is establishing accountability and a tracking system. If you don't have, so what gets measured gets done and improves. If I simply told you, go run a mile every day, then you just go run a mile every day. And so let's say I was your coach and I said, okay, every day for the next month, go run a mile. You're like, okay, so for the next month, you just go run a mile. And your time would stay probably about the same. And then if I just said, okay, for the next month, go run a mile every day, but mark how long it took you. Just track that one thing. Just track how long it took you to run that mile. Just one metric. How long did it take? You would write down every day, it took me 10 minutes. And then your mind would automatically think, I wonder if I could do it in less time than 10 minutes. Maybe I could do it in 9.5. And over the course of the next month, we would find that your mile time dropped by probably a minute or so, without me even telling you to drop it. All I said was, mark down how long it takes. What gets measured gets done and improves. So when I set a definitive goal that said, I'm doing Ironman, and I told the entire world, my entire world anyway, hey guys, I'm doing Ironman. No more sweeping the shit under the rug. And if you guys all stopped and paid attention right now, you would go, yeah, I've definitely swept plenty of things under the rug. I've definitely set targets and goals and objectives and had dreams and hopes and aspirations, and then just no one really knew about them because I didn't let anyone know, because I didn't want anyone to know that I set out to do something and then I failed, because then I might actually validate to myself the fear that I have within, that I'm a piece of shit, that I'm unworthy, that I don't follow through, that I don't create what I set out to create, and then everyone will know, and then I will know, and then I'll just give up and die. That's why we don't take these risks. That's why most people don't say, yep, I'm doing this big thing, because they're worried that everyone will say, ha ha ha, you suck like us. You said you were doing this and you didn't. You quit. You suck. And we're scared that we don't have what it takes to get there, that we won't follow through all the way. And so then we just don't commit in the first place, because then we can avoid failing. And the truth is, the only reason why we're staying within our comfort zone is that we're scared of where it could lead us to. Psychologically, the end result, if we failed too many times and we bought into the failure, is suicide. All that happens is I fail, I fail, I fail, I beat myself up, beat myself up, beat myself up, tell myself I'm a loser, I suck, I'm a failure, I'm a fraud, I suck, until eventually I've beaten myself so low that I kill myself. So instinctually we are scared that we will die if we put it all out there and take a risk and fail. That's why we're scared of public speaking. That's why we're scared of being on video. That's why we're scared of anything that displays us shining our light from the mountaintop, is because we're scared that if everyone else turns on us and says, see, you're a loser, that we'll do the same and say, oh, yeah, you're right, I'm a loser. Yeah, oh, man, I suck. And then we'll go kill ourselves. But if you just committed, I love myself no matter what. I know who I really am. And I know it's okay to be human. And I know it's okay to make mistakes. And I'm going to fail forward. And no matter what anyone says about me, I'm not going to use that to destroy myself. I'm going to use it to fuel myself and improve myself. Guys, if you had any idea the ridicule I've faced on my journey, you would probably turn back right now. Everything I ever feared that people would say to me or about me or think about me or judge about me has happened. They've said I was selfish, that I was greedy. They've called me an atheist. They've called me a cheat and a liar and a fraud and every damn thing you can think of. A healer and a pussy and a weakling and a mean dude and selfish and greedy and everything you can think of that I never wanted people to call me, they've called me. And the good news is 99% of the time it doesn't hurt anymore. And when it does, it's just another opportunity to go, oh, okay, cool, that's another piece that I get to love even more fully. So you step outside your comfort zone and utilize the resistance to fuel the healing process to shine ever more brightly. Now, if you don't have an accountability and tracking system, the chances of you staying on course is slim to nothing. It's like if I didn't know and have people holding me accountable to Ironman, the chances of me getting caught in the drift and just quitting, it's so hard, guys, to commit to 3 to 6 to sometimes 9, 10 hours in a day of training. Like, there's so many other options in the world, and I'm not even that passionate about the Ironman. I'm only passionate about transformation, becoming the next greatest version of myself. In order to do it, I'm saying no to quality time with my family and relaxation and quality time with clients and friends and loved ones and so many other things I could be doing. But I committed to this Ironman knowing it was the next transformation for me. It would be so easy to say, no, I just want to relax. I just want to spend time with loved ones or this, that, or the other. But if I've set it up because I know that. That's why I set up accountability and tracking that burns the ships. If you guys don't know the term burn the ships and what that means, I think it was Alexander the Great sailed in to fight this other army. They landed on the beach with their ships and got off, and he knew they were outnumbered like 3 to 1 with their back against the ocean. The odds were so far against them, they were almost certain to die and lose, and all of them died. And so what he did was he signaled to his captains, he said, burn the ships. So here they are back against the ocean, outnumbered like 3-1 or something. And he knew that if they were not 100% committed, they were all dead. They were for sure losing. So he took away any option in their mind. They didn't think, well, if we start losing, we can retreat, hop on the ships, and get the hell out of here. Everyone was like, oh, shit. We either win or die today. And they showed up differently than they would have if they had an exit strategy. So when you deal with your plan Bs and your exit strategies and you're playing it safe, all you're saying is, it's like going to a roulette table in Vegas and placing chips on the red and the black. You're like, I'll place 100 on red and 100 on black. And so, yeah, you got like not even a 50-50 chance, because once in a while it's going to land on that green. And then you're just going to lose both of them. But the other times, what you win, you're going to lose anyway, so it doesn't help. So in the end, you just end up losing no matter what. So it's like, choose where the hell you're going and go there 100% and reap the reward, whatever it is, and stand up and face that consequence, knowing that you played at 100%, not showing up half-assed and saying, well, I could have succeeded, but I just didn't try my best, because that's one of the biggest things people do to hold themselves back, is to play half-assed, so that if they fail, they can have an excuse that they didn't really try. Yeah, I wasn't really trying. Because we're scared to give it all our best and then fail and then be like, yeah, I gave my very best and I failed. Because we're scared that that will mean that we're fundamentally flawed and that it's true that we're truly inadequate and not enough. Versus saying, yep, I gave it my very best and it kicked my ass and I fell down and now I'm back up, I learned some things, I readjusted, I'm moving forward again, and I'm better because of it. So burning the ships, 100% committed, and having that accountability and tracking system in place. I wrote on the next note, which I've already spoken to, the importance of easing the process by empowering yourself with consistent breakthrough support. If you don't have someone in your corner who's going to call you out on your crap, catch through your verbiage, your body language, your excuses, your whatever, and call you out on that and help you see a new way and change that thought that's generating that feeling, that's creating a result of you being stuck, and shifting that so that you can shift out of that pattern and go up, then don't be surprised when you keep hitting your head against the wall and getting the same results. You've heard me speak to this many times, the importance of upgrading your skill sets and your mindsets. If you are not getting an upgraded, we upgrade our phones, we upgrade our computers, we upgrade all our technology, but we don't upgrade our minds. If you're not getting new abilities to communicate and all the principles that govern a healthy relationship, if you're not providing more value than you take and communicating well and listening well and doing all these things that make a thriving relationship, and the truth is you don't even know what they are. If you're not getting help and having someone train you on what those skill sets are, how do you expect to thrive in that? It's like expecting you're going to go be a killer gardener without reading any books, getting any mentorship, or learning from someone who's already mastered the art of gardening. Or it's like trying to climb Mount Everest without getting someone who's mastered the art of climbing Mount Everest. It's insanity to try to do these things without, it's like reinventing the wheel. It's already been invented. Invest in your skill sets and mindsets in the areas that matter most to you. If you want to kill a relationship, you must understand the principles and align with the principles that create a killer relationship. Just as much as if you wanted to be a master gardener, you must master the principles that govern mastery of gardening, or climbing Everest, or launching a rocket. There are laws and principles that govern these things. If you want to thrive in those things, educate and empower yourself with the skill sets and mindsets that will allow you to thrive. Quit fucking beating your head against the wall, applying the same shit that you were programmed with to begin with, expecting different results. If you haven't implemented a system in your life that holds you accountable consistently, Plan on getting off course every few days and staying off course more than you're on course. If you don't have continuous upgrades in your software, I mean, if you think computers need upgrades quickly, your mind is what is determining every result in your whole world. If there's anything that ever needed consistent upgrades, it's your mind. In every way possible. Even if you invested every day for the rest of your life, upgrading every area of your life, you could not consume everything that's available to you to give you the optimal life in your entire lifetime. You cannot afford to waste one single day. Again, though, go back to simple success swinging singles, because I can see some of you getting overwhelmed. This isn't about hitting the home run and winning all of life and conquering it all today. It's about enjoying the journey and expanding a little bit every day. This is why you align your life to have consistent accountability, people outside of you, a community of your peers who will hold you accountable. You have teachers and mentors who will teach you the skill sets and mindsets consistently to upgrade and up-level. And here in Limitless Legion, we're covering a lot of deep and powerful stuff, but we're also not taking the time to go into the depths of those things. Like relationships, yeah, we did one training on relationships. So now you're a master at relationships because that'll be like you attended my karate class one time and now you're good to go on relationships, or karate. What does it take to become a master at karate or any martial art? 10,000 hours to master anything. So you want to master martial arts? 10,000 hours. This is 40 hours a week for 5 years. For any area of your life, to master it. You want to master the shift and drift? 10,000 hours. You want to master relationships? 10,000 hours. Now get this, it's not just 10,000 hours of relating, because it's not just practice makes perfect, it's perfect practice makes perfect. So when you're practicing relationships shitty, you're deepening the ingraining of shitty relationships. You're actually getting better at shitty relationships. When you're practicing martial arts the wrong way, you're getting better at doing it the wrong way. So the longer you continue to do business in unhealthy ways, the longer you continue to approach money in unhealthy ways, the longer you approach relationships in unhealthy ways, the more you are ingraining in your head how to do it in ways that are going to get your ass kicked when you step in the ring with the person who has taken the time, the money, the effort to invest to master that art and that craft. So if you truly value being the best parent you can be and the best spouse you can be and thriving in life and being the best spiritual person you can be, devote the time, money, and energy to master those crafts. So one of the two other things I want to speak about before we wrap this up are, one, pre-production power process. Pre-production power process. Everyone in my paid programs has every element we've discussed today. After working with clients, thousands upon thousands, speaking on radio shows, TV shows, live events, masterminding, live coaching, one-on-one coaching, online coaching, all different formats for years, having been a coach long before anyone else was in the coaching industry, and everyone thought I was just a nut. Like they didn't even know what the hell it was and thought I was Columbus dropping off the side of the earth. Then I've learned a few things over the years about what it takes to get people to get shit done and get results. And that's what my paid programs do, is I have combined every single element that it takes to get consistent results day in and day out, no matter who you are, where you are. We have the accountability in place. We have the mindsets and skill sets in place. We have the upgraded, the environment in place. All of that is put in place, so that all we do is plug you into the system. You reverse engineer. Every step we've gone through today is built into the system. Right now, you guys participating in Limitless Legion are getting skill sets and mindsets only. You don't have accountability. You don't have breakthrough. You don't have the coaching. You don't have the reverse engineering. You don't have the clear game plan. You're not deeply connected with your why. All these things. It's tremendous value because you're getting massive upgrades and we're seeing major breakthroughs on all fronts. And there comes a time when that serves you to get from down here to up here, and then it's time to up level and commit and go all in on yourself and invest in yourself and make it easy. Make it faster. Well, let me take that back. I'm not promising you that it's easy. Make it easier and make it faster. The next key piece is raising your upper limits, because bottom line is, no matter how much you want something, if you're wired to only allow yourself to have life, say on a scale of 1 to 10, if what's available to you is a 10 and you're pre-wired and accustomed to having it be a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7, and you don't know how to raise your capacity to handle more and more amounts of positive love, positive energy, and success of all sorts, you can beat your head and try all you want. But if you don't reacclimate your system to be able to handle that level of positive energy, it's all just beating your head. It's all just trying. So critical, guys, learn how to master the art of the shift and drift. Dive deep into that. Continue to pay attention to how to make that happen. There's so much more to learn about that. We could devote this entire Limitless Legion for the next 10,000 hours to the shift and drift and raising your upper limits. And if that's all we mastered, everything else would work itself out. So we're scratching the surface of the things that will help you to create the most epic life you've ever imagined. And it's a matter of continuing to do the inner work and outer work. I've said it. If you don't go within, you will go without. In life, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you're committed to. I've given you the entire formula today. You know, and I'll go through it again real quickly. We get clear on what our why is. We get clear on where we're at currently. We get clear on where we want to be. We reverse engineer how we're going to get from where we are to where we want to be. We have faith and knowing and certainty in ourselves because of our level of unconditional love and impeccable integrity, which is a process. Then we then we commit 100% and burn the ships that we will get there and we will never give up no matter what happens, no matter what they say, no matter what resistance, no matter what anyone says or does, that we will become the greatest version of ourselves and get there and accomplish our purpose in this life on this planet. Then we invest and master the art of shifting from the drift. Then we establish accountability and tracking system to keep us on course, and a community of our peers that will hold us to our greatness and not buy into our excuses and limiting beliefs and stories and old defensive defeating patterns. And then we do the breakthrough process to remove the rocks from the backpack so we're not trying to climb with a 200-pound pack. And then we invest in our skill sets and mindsets and environments so we're surrounded by all the elements that allow us to be successful, and we upgrade the motherboard in here that creates every result in our world. And then we invent our day so that we have a process every day that we are swinging singles every day, successfully progressing with our body and our relationships and our health and our finances and our spirituality, so that all of that is happening every day. By doing this process every day, this pre-production power process, begin our day every single day, meditating, journaling, studying, working out, making investments in our primary relationships, and doing all these things, setting our intentions, doing something creative, whatever our personal power process is, first thing in the morning, so that we approach our entire day from that space, and that everything else we do comes from that inspiration and that higher frequency and vibration. And as a result of that, spending more and more time in a higher frequency by raising the frequency of our food and the frequency of our thoughts and the frequency of the people around us, and the frequency of everything in our world, our life gets better and better and better, and we raise the frequency that we're accustomed to being in, and we get more and more accustomed to the greatness becoming the norm, and setting a new standard of how great we can handle it, and continuously raising our upper limits and our thermostat setting until we literally create heaven on earth. Guys, gals, I am limitless. You are limitless. There is nothing that we cannot do. There is nothing that any of us has that anyone else doesn't have. There is no business person out there who is more capable than you are. There is no spiritual person out there who is more blessed or capable than you are. There is no one out there that is more blessed or capable in relationships than you are. We all have the same capacity and potential. The question is, will you expand? Will you be committed to become the greatest version of yourself over and over and over again, truly exposing and revealing your limitless nature to be everything you were designed to be? You were designed for greatness. You deserve to have it all. Your Creator wants that for you. Will you give it to yourself? This is Christopher John Stubbs thanking you for joining me today. Create an amazing rest of the week.